What up? What up? What up? Welcome back to the scorecard, the boxing scorecard. I'm your host, Cedric. Ben, we got a couple fights that we're going to be going through and giving detailed explanations about. Starting off with the main attraction for the evening over in the UK, we had the IBF World Featherweight Title Championship with Kiko Martinez versus Josh Warrington. Kiko Martinez definitely in the last half of his career. He had a big upset win against Kid Gallahan in his last fight. Was probably one runner up for knockout of the week, and definitely runner up for in the running for knockout of the year, especially because the way that he came back. So he had the belts at the time, coming in with a record of 43 wins with 30 knockouts, 10 losses, but a tough competitor from Spain and going up against Josh Warrington. This is actually their second time that they're going up against each other. Josh Warrington coming in with a record of 30 wins with only 8 KOs, one loss. So only 8 KOs in his 30 fights. So not known as a power puncher, but definitely has the world-class boxing skills to keep him at that level. First round, Josh Warrington came up with a high guard. Of course, I got the scorecard breaking it down round by round. First round, Warrington came up with a high guard. Kiko Martinez just plodding forward, moving his head. Tight defense. Warrington landed 3 good combinations within that round. Something happened. It was a random clash of heads or arm. And it wasn't, sorry, random clash of heads, accidental. Kiko, he tried to look at the referee to complain, and then in the middle of that got caught with a punch and went down. It was a 10-8 round for Warrington, but as I always say, if something happens, if the referee doesn't stop it, you're not the ref. You can't stop it yourself and tell the referee to check on you or whatever. You gotta fight through that. So that was Martinez's fault in that first round there. First 2 rounds I gave to Warrington, especially that second round. My quick notes here, just to explain. I'm gonna talk the quick notes that I wrote in between rounds, and then I'll explain them. So my quick notes for the second round: Josh was bullying him. Kiko got to get off the ropes. It makes it look worse unless you have defense, Floyd defense. Josh landing from all angles. Again, you if you're gonna be against the ropes, sometimes they say you can draw a fighter to you by going against ropes where they think they have the advantage, where you can take the advantage. But that only works if you have exceptional defense, like Floyd. That's why I said Floyd in my notes. You can't just go to the ropes and just put your hands up and let someone just tee off on you. So Warrington's skills, again, not hard. He only had 8 KOs in his 30 fights, so you don't have to worry about his power, but his skills, exceptional boxing skills, and he was landing punches from all angles. The next 2 rounds, however, I actually gave to Martinez, but I did mark them as close rounds. I usually explained that at the beginning. Anyways, I'll explain the close rounds at the end. So this third round here, I marked it as a close round. My notes were Josh slowed down a bit and Kiko picked it up. Kiko coming forward for most of the round. Now, just because you're coming forward doesn't mean you're automatically winning the fight. But it all depends on the fighter. Specifically, someone like Kiko Martinez, he's not a boxer that's going to be backing up and slipping and catching. His only game is coming forward, and it's worked for him for most of his career. The guy has 30 knockouts in his 43 fights, so that's his one style that has worked for him. So when he was coming forward, he shows he's the boss when he's actually coming forward. So I gave that third round to Martinez. Round number 4, actually, from round 3 to 6, I marked all of those as close rounds. Round number 4, I also gave to Martinez. Specifically, past 2 rounds, the crowd was quiet. Josh had 1 combo. His only success is pushing Kiko into the ropes with his shoulder. This fight was in the UK, so obviously, even though Martinez was the champion, Warrington had the crowd advantage, and you're doing well when you're fighting in the other guy's hometown, and it's a packed house, it was full, and the crowd's quiet. That's how you know that you're as the opponent, you're doing good. Not the only reason why I gave the round to Martinez, but that's one of the signs that you're obviously doing what your plan is working. And you can Kiko Martinez, as I said, he fights more like the bully. He doesn't fight good going backwards. So I could tell Josh Warrington's game plan was trying to make him fight going backwards. But because Warrington doesn't have the punching power to make him punch, to make him go backwards, he was forced to kind of use his shoulder a little bit to kind of not blatantly extend his arms and push, but to kind of lean into him. So, but it didn't really work in rounds 3 and 4. So that's why up until that point, I had an even fight. So going into the 5th round, because of the knockdown in the 1st round, Warrington still had the advantage. Going into the 5th round, gave the 5th and 6th round to Warrington. I'd marked both of those as close round. So my notes for the 5th round were Kiko won the first half, Josh second half, and Josh was landing cleaner and a bit more. Second or third time, Josh landed a right hand that moved Kiko back. Yes. Warrington landed a couple of clean right hands that, not only clearly landed on Martinez, but pushed him backwards. So that's why they were clearly rounds for, and that was like 2 or 3 times that happened. So that's why it was clear for Warrington. Round 6, I also marked as a close round, but I gave it to Warrington. My notes for the 6th round, it was close because Kiko still pressing forward and landing, even though Josh was landing cleaner. Kiko leaking. Don't let the commentary steal your thoughts. I think I wrote, don't let the commentary steal your thoughts, because sometimes I don't get caught up, like when I'm judging a fight, I don't let the commentary make my judgment for me. Some people say they do. Like I know a lot of people that don't, watch the fights without the volume on, so they don't get influenced. That's okay if you feel that way. No problem with that. But me personally, I like to hear the crowd. I like to hear the coaches in between rounds talking to the fighters. And sometimes, the commentators, they give like little stats and stuff like that you wouldn't really think about. That makes sense. Anyways, going into round 6, close round, but I gave it to Warrington. And that's where it ended, actually. He had him coming forward this time, but the way that Warrington was backing up Martinez was with a combination, landing him clear on the chin. So again, even if you don't have punching power, like most people could take punches, to the face and everything, but this part right here on the chin that makes the head snap like that, that's where people get effed up. So Warrington landed a couple of those, had Kiko going backwards, and then the referee came in and stopped the fight. And congrats, and a very big win for Josh Warrington. I think both fighters were at a crossroads at this fight, at this time. Not sure where they were going to go next. But yeah, big win for both of them. So we will see where that goes after that. So scorecard up to that was 58-55 for Warrington. All right, that was the main event. The two other matches that I got to score were, which one are we going to go through first? We'll go through Miguel Berkshiel first. All right, Miguel Berchelt, who's had a great career, coming into this fight, 38 wins with 34 knockouts and only 3 losses. 38 wins, 34 knockouts with only 3 losses. However, 2 of those losses were devastating losses, and in his past 2 fights, against Oscar Valdez last year, which was, I believe, either the knockout of the year or like literally runner up for knockout of the year. And yeah, this was his comeback fight against Jeremiah Nakathila, who is from Namibia, coming in with a record of 23 wins with 19 KOs and only 2 losses. Not really well known. His last big fight, he's had a couple fights between them, but he fought Shakur Stevenson And this is what I mean talking about, like, I like listening to the fight, because sometimes the commentators bring statistics that you wouldn't know. So I'm going to talk about those. So anyways, real quick about the fight. Berchelt was obviously the main attraction. This was supposed to be his comeback fight. However, it definitely did not go as planned. No one really need to go through the scorecards, but just my notes for them. Um, Nakatha started and finished all combinations. Second round, um, Nakathila, he was just being the boss, landing clean right hands, and it was just a all day thing for Nakila. Going into the fourth round, oh my bad, skip the third. Third round, he dropped him with a jab. This is how you know that he just did not look the same. You could tell that he did not fully recovered from those two devastating losses that he had. Um, and these are the stats that were crazy. Jeremiah Nakathila, when he fought Shakur Stevenson, he landed a total of 20 punches in 12 rounds. 28 punches in 12 rounds against Shakur Stevenson. In the first 2 rounds against Miguel Berkshiel, he landed 31 in the first 2 rounds. So this is a combination of Jeremiah being a better boxer, or Berchelt being being that much not the same. So yeah, it was not looking good going into that fifth round. Berchelt, yeah, the low, yeah, he just did not look good. The low punch output before going into this fight, Berchelt was top seven in the world as far as punches thrown per round. He was around 70 punches per round thrown. This fight, going up into this round, he was only throwing about 30. The fifth round, I actually gave the fifth round to Berchelt because he was back to his 70 punch output. I didn't. It's funny because before I knew that statistic, just watching the round itself, I did think that he was doing a bit more, and I did give him that round. And then when I heard that statistic after, it did make sense because he was throwing more. But he was still getting tagged, and it was a good decision. In the sixth round, the referee came in and stopped the fight. Berchelt's corner looked kind of surprised that they were stopped the fight, but I'm hoping it was just their pride that was just showing that, and not actually wanting Berchelt to continue on, because even though he didn't go down, he went down early with a jab. Like, just think about that. If you go down from a jab, that means you just mentally and physically you still haven't recovered from from those two losses, especially back to back. It's one thing, it's taking a loss is not just a normal loss. It's one thing if it's a close defensive fight. Some people might say it was boring and not a lot of punches were landed, and then the fight might have been a draw, or one of you guys might have won by split decision. It's one thing to have a match like that where not too much happened, but to lose again in devastating fashion 2 fights in a row, especially being an older fighter at the end of your career, you don't want to let your pride get in the way of your good health and living the rest of your life. So my suggestion to Mr. Berchelt, he's had a great career. Again, 38 wins, 34 knockouts. So a great career. He was a great champion, but I would suggest that he hangs them up now and think about life after boxing. As for Jeremiah Nakathila, he is, made a good comeback. He's looking good. This was a big win for him, and he actually has a bright future. So it's going to be interesting to see who he goes up against next. What else we got? The last one. Oh yes, Tszyu versus Terrell Gausha. Tszyu, his American debut from Australia. His father, Tszyu, one of the great welterweights of all time. A lot of people don't talk about his father. He's not well known, but people within boxing definitely know that name. and his son, who looks exactly like him, and also has the same fighting style as him and the same hard punches as him, made his American debut last night against Terrell Gausha, who was a 2012 Olympian. Let me give you their quick stats. So Tszyu coming into this fight was 20-0 with 15 knockouts. 20-0 with 15 knockouts. Last night got his did they go the distance? Anyways, Terrell Gausha coming in. He was a 2012 Olympian. He came in with a record of 22 wins and 2 losses with 11 knockouts. So also not known as a power puncher, but definitely a very good boxer. Um, this one was from a lower level belt, the WBO Global Super Welterweight Championship. So not one of the main belts, but a lower level belt just to establish something, to have a reason to fight. This one was, I was very impressed with Mr. Tszyu. Again, when it's one thing to have an undefeated record from from a country that's known for boxing, and just because you have an undefeated record from a country that's known for boxing doesn't mean that you're good, because some people could still sneak their way through the cracks. But if you're undefeated from a country that's not really known for having boxers, there are great boxers that come from Australia, don't get me wrong, but not as far as other countries put together. It's another thing. So that was the big mystery. My whole point of saying that was the big mystery of Tszyu coming in to this fight. This was his the biggest name that he's fought so far, Terrell Gausha, who's had a couple of big names on his career. Let's go through his career real quick. He's fought some good guys: Erickson Lubin, Austin Trout, Arislandi Lara. Was in either or one or even the fights that he lost against those top level competitors, he was in all of them boxing wise. So this was a good step up fight, or not even a step up fight. This was an equal level fight for both guys. And Tszyu, he definitely impressed me. Just pulling in my scorecard here. The first round, I actually marked it as a 10-8 round. Tszyu got dropped in that first round in an exchange with Terrell Gausha. Even though when you go down, you automatically lose around 10-8 unless you really come back. Then you can make it 10-9 at least. But unless you knock the other guy down, then it might be 9-9. I still thought Gausha was winning that round before the knockdown. So that round was a 10-8 round for Terrell Gausha. But then everything after that was just straight Tszyu. He was trying to show in that second round. You can tell he was trying to show that he was good from the knockdown. He landed more combinations as he was still pressing forward. Third round, Gausha lands, but when Gausha lands, he was landing some punches. He wasn't out of the fight at this point. He was landing some punches, but when Tszyu was landing, Gausha he actually physically would move back, not just get hit. He would physically move back. Round number four. It was almost a 10-8 round for Tszyu. Almost a 10-8 round for Tszyu, as I got the highlights up here. Almost a 10-8 round for Tszyu. Going into round 5, he actually dropped him. No, it was no knockdown, but that was a 10. Yeah. He didn't drop him, but it was a severe beating in that 5th round, and so I actually gave that round a 10-8 round for Tszyu. What up, Amber? Thank you for the compliments. Going into round 6. Tszyu's power kept Gausha against the ropes, going from rope to rope. What I explained to you guys, when you're facing someone with power that's pressing forward, you want to be able to move, but it's not just going from rope to rope. You can touch the ropes, but once you touch the ropes, you want to try to make a sharp turn to get back to the center of the ring. When you get to the center of the ring, then you can stop for a second. Then when you're ready, you can move left or right or back up or wherever you want to go. But when you just go from rope to rope, it's easy for your opponent just to cut you off and keep you there. And so that's what Gausha was doing. He was landing a few punches and trying to get out of there, but he would just go from one rope to the other rope. And Tszyu was just great at cutting him off and just meeting him right there, like he already knew where he was going. So if you're ever in that situation again, as soon as you touch the ropes, land one or two punches and try to make a sharper turn to get back to the center of the ring. Sixth round, going into round 7. Again, these were all rounds for Tszyu. I'm just going off my quick notes. Round 7, all I wrote was certified ass whooping. Round 8, I didn't write any notes for that one. Anyways, bottom line, this was an impressive win for Tszyu. And much respect to Terrell Gausha. When I wrote certified, like I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. That's just Tszyu. He was really putting him on him. And so at that, I believe this was at what weight class was this at? 154 pounds. Okay, so he's gonna be right in the mix with all those guys around there. It's gonna be very interesting to follow his career. And I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, what else? There was a few other fights I'm not going to go through, but this guy, Michel Rivera, and my boy Mike Cora at 4. He was on the knockout of the week already, and I'm pretty sure Mike already featured him. You can catch Mike Cora at 4 every day at 4:00 on the Talkin Fight channel, bringing up the latest and upcoming boxers. Michel Rivera, you'll recognize him because he tries to emulate Muhammad Ali as his fighting style, the shorts that he wears, and even his hairstyle at the 135-pound division. And nobody's really talking about him, but he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I really like his style. I really like his educated jab and the way that he's coming up. So remember that name, Michel Rivera. What else we got? Potential knockout of the week. Christian Mobili against Najim Muhammad. Bam, on his back. Anyways, make sure you tune in later today for knockout of the week, my boy Mike Core. All right. Like, share, subscribe. Also, today at around 4:30, after you watch the knockout of the week, you can tune in, stay on YouTube, and go to the Continental Championships. Will be live. Team Canada is fighting Kioma Ali, future world champion, will be fighting today's first fight, representing Canada versus Panama. That'll be around 5:00. So after you watch the knockout of the week, tune into that one. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.